You're listening to Embrace Your Snake, the number one podcast for entrepreneurs and creatives that have good ideas and need just a little bit of help with getting them out into the world. I'm your host, Michael Jackson, and today we're talking with a musician who's done everything from house concerts to 20,000-seat auditoriums. He's a percussionist, he's a producer, teacher, he's done church orchestras, everything. Please welcome Sandro Feliciano. Hey, Sandro, how are you doing?
How are you, man? How are you, Michael? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it very much. It was very good.
I'm so glad you could be here. This is really,
my pleasure.
It's a honor for me. It's like, I just started doing the show and I get people are actually speaking to me. And so for you to take time out of your day is very much appreciated.
Oh, man, my pleasure. I like to do those things. And people are interested in the stuff that we do, especially the music and kind of things. I really enjoy it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your background. Let's start with how you started in music. I know you're from Brazil, and you have an interesting story. I would love to hear about about your experiences, and especially I've talked to people about house concerts before, and I want to hear about your experience going to people's houses and they either have or don't have music at their house. Let's say.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, that's like I grew up in outskirts of São Paulo. Is the biggest city in Brazil, like 20 million people. But I grew up like an hour from there, which is like 100,000 people or so. And my family is all musicians, not everyone professional per se, but we grew up with a lot of music in the house. My dad was a drummer, percussionist. His uncle was a conductor from the orchestra. I never met because he lived far, but I remember his stories. And my cousins play classical guitar and piano. And from my dad's side, so from my mom's side, my grandfather was just like a folk type of guitar player, singer, but like a very minor. So, my sister sings and plays piano really well. So we have a lot of that in the family. So we grew up listening classical music, from classical music to pop music. My sister likes a lot. She's older than me. Mm-hmm. She likes like Carpenters, Elton John, that kind of stuff. And my mom likes the Julio Iglesias type of singers, and between all that, my dad used to listen to that thing, classical and also Brazilian music. So we got into that very early age.
Did you play a lot of music in your house?
We used to play. I used to play when I was a teenager with people on a basement. But before that, I used to sit down and watch my dad plays in the living room with the friends that comes in like 7-string guitars, the shoulder stuff, the samba stuff. And later on, I realized those guys were really killer players, but you had no idea. When you grew up, he's a dad's friend, and you like it. That's a good thing to know. And that being said, so every time we had some kind of reunion to some degree, there was somehow a music going on by somebody playing.
So people would bring their instruments with them, or did you just have them in the house?
No, we had a few percussions. We have a piano and a nylon string guitars, but people bring the cavaquinho, like a tiny ukulele type of sizes. They bring some of their personal guitars and have a coffee and dinner and stuff, and then later on they play in the living room and I watch it. That's what we used to do. So that's how I grew up, and then since that was the case. Every time I go out of the house, I was very intrigued by the other people did not have that, because when I was 9 or 10, I think I told on that interview, I went to a birthday party. Everything is good, and my dad asked how was. Because he knew I liked the friends, that particular friend of mine. But everybody was nice. I was like, yeah, Dad, it was cool. Your parents are nice. Food was great, but nobody played anything. And he was like, what do you mean? Like, well, it was fun, but there's no music. Nobody played nothing. They don't play instruments. To my mind, I thought every family would do that.
That's interesting.
That's what I used to. Like I said, well, nobody plays. How come? Like somebody, there's 20 people, 30 people in the house. Nobody does nothing. To me, it's like 5 people in my living room. Everybody plays everything.
Wow. So it's not a Brazilian thing. It was a family. Your family played music all the time.
Yes, it was in my house. It's quite common having family that do that kind of thing, because music is a huge part of the culture in general. At least it was. I've been in the United States for 21 years now, so the history is being made 10 by 10 years, everything can change. But I mean, in general, when you play something, everybody plays a little bit or knows somebody that does. And so somehow there's a reunion kind of that eventually somebody brings a guitar, starts singing. Like if I'm going to your house, you start singing R&B stuff, or James Taylor, you and me kind of thing. Oh, you know this song? A little bit, things like that. So it was very, very common when I grew up.
It's interesting because there's people here. There's a whole, I want to call it industry, I guess, where people will just book people for house concerts. So they have musicians come to their house and play.
Yeah, I play here in LA house concerts too.
Have you done that here in LA?
I've done it. I really like it, man, because when you do that, the people that are showing up, they're very much interested on the music, on art form. So it's much more pleasant a lot of ways because it's very intimate. But people dig that stuff. I really enjoy it.
Oh, absolutely. You know what? Let's talk about that because there are, having been in LA and other places, I have found, and tell me if I'm right or wrong about this. This is very interesting to me, that musicians that try and play the bar scene in LA, it's a lot of, you have to bring the audience, you have to guarantee so many people come, you have to, basically you have to almost pay to play, and so you can get a drink at the bar. And what I found was that for those musicians that instead of going to the bars and having to bring the crowd, if you can find someone's house to go to and they bring the crowd there and then make donations to the musicians, musicians make a lot more money and it's a more enjoyable experience. What's your experience with house concerts and bars?
No, you're right. The house concerts, because house concerts became a fashion thing. It's not only the way you're thinking or the way you're describing to me. It's a hip thing to have a house concert in LA. It's became hip. Oh, I have a house concert here, and they're like, whoa, man, this is something. Because the LA scene, the bar stuff, it becomes an industry. Everything there's too much related as an industry per se format is not appealing to anybody anymore. Because it's like industries like anything can have something from the industry. If you got money, if you got a logistic going on, if you put a show together, it can make it happen, But on a house concert, you're not going to go there unless some house concerts are happening in certain areas. It's not going to work. You know what I mean? I play in one, there's a lot of Latin, jazz, Brazilian, world music type of thing. So every time they have events, are always killer players that you don't find anywhere in LA. I mean, you do find some of them because I'm in LA area and I also plays there. But in general, you find people from other states, from other cities, from other going there, but you don't see them on a Sunset Strip in Hollywood, for example. You won't see those kind of shows. And you can definitely make more money in there because, the donation, people are so used to it. They don't want to go in a regular nightclub or a bar. Because a house is much more comfortable.
It's so much more comfortable, and it's just a different feel. You sit on the floor, you talk to the musicians.
Oh, man, connections right there.
If people were coming to LA for musicians, just for the first time, it's their first 6 months in LA, would you suggest they do the bar scene and try and play in the bars or do house concerts?
Oh, if they are coming to try to play around town, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, there's certain places that is really good if you can get them. For example, we have the club called Blue Whale. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're familiar with, but I mean, it's a really hip jazz club, super simple, very comfy, and killer players. Now it's became really hip. I just saw Larry Goldings with Bill Stewart and Peter Burstyn there, and they come with people from New York, from all over the country on that club.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's really...
But people can't get in there. I mean, you're normal.
No, you can if you have a band. If you have your great band, you're able to do something like that. But you have to talk to the guy ahead of time because it's 6 months booked, and he needs to like what you do.
Correct.
Which means that makes you you got to be good. So that narrows to a quality, which I like it. You know what I mean? So you're not gonna see anything bad. But if you go to small theaters or some small clubs like the First in nearby I think it called the First or something like the First, 2 words. Sam First or something like this nearby the LAX. It's a jazz little club thing. So it's easier to book some of those too. You can find some of those places. It's good if you find the niche for you and you can try to book it. It's good, but it takes a while to find the date to happening, you know.
It does.
But house concerts is also book ahead of time. They'll be easier for you to achieve, I think, the goal as a performer to bring a good crowd on a house concerts than definitely a Blue Whale, for example. No, those clubs are really hip. Like I said, you need way more, got your stuff together way more than that.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
It takes time, you know. I don't know if it's 6 months, whatever you can do. It takes I think my experience watching people moving, minimum a year or two to start something happening.
And so in that first, let's say 2 years, what do you suggest people do that want to become full-time musicians in LA, or even if they want to be touring musicians, what do you suggest that they do?
Well, you have to connect with the people that do what you want to do. So you have to go to some of the jam sessions that happens in LA. So there's a few jazz jam sessions around town. Not that many, but there's a few. There's also the rock pop jam sessions on a Sunset Strip in Hollywood, which the main clubs, they used to be really big in the 70s and 80s. So you can meet people there. And you have to have a good resume kind of thing. So your Instagram happening so people can see what you do, who you are, you know, exactly how you play. If you have some videos of you playing, and then you can show them. But it takes a while because, you know, it's a trust thing. You know, I'm not gonna recommend somebody just because they show up. Yep. You know, I have people that I trust. They have good ethics or working ethics as a people. You know, is more than what you need more than playing. Playing is a given. You know what I mean? It's not gonna get you anywhere if you just as a
That's very
player.
interesting. And you just brought up something that nobody else has actually brought up. And that is that you said you need to have a good Instagram. You're the first person to actually bring up social media. Tell me about it. What's up?
Well, you know, I'm a guilty of not having super together, but I know it's very important to do it because it's modern world nowadays. CD is a calling card. You still have to do it. I still like to make it, some CDs and record myself or somebody else's project because that's the way things goes and people can hear you. But it's a calling card. You know what I mean? You don't make as much money as you used to make it, but you need to do it to people know who you are and what you play. Yeah. And the Instagram and videos, people are listening with their eyes more than ever. More than, you know what I mean? Because video thing, they want to see you do stuff. They want to see how the band performs. They want to see the vibe that you create live. And then, you know, oh, this is a great vibe. If you check the Blue Whales videos on YouTube, those are really good because they're super well done. And a lot of those killer players like Julian Lodge is a great guitar player from New York. And I watched that. And I missed the show because I was on the road, but I could see it. And I was like, man, and I can tell the vibe. It's like, man, it's a great thing. So it's becoming more and more like that. So if you have that together so people can really fast get and find you, right. It makes easier, you know, it makes easier.
It's interesting though. Would you say take the Instagram, usually when people do an Instagram account, the people who actually understand how to do Instagram well will do a theme. So the people that you're talking about or the accounts that you're talking about, is the Instagram more geared toward people booking you or more geared to audience coming out to see you? Which one would you suggest, and how should people do that, you think?
I think it's more the people go to see who you present yourself. Because if like my interview that I sent it to you, for example, anyone can watch, a musician or a person that want to see a story from somebody else background. It could be a classical player, jazz player, or a foreigner, because anyone can relate it to what I said. Anyone can, you know what I mean? Everybody has family, everybody has goals, everybody has aspirations. You get sad, you laugh. So like, wow, that's interesting. So I'm from somebody from place such and so and so and so. So if you put yourself really well the way you want to be presented, I always have good videos for me playing that I like it, or something really clever that I enjoy with my friends at the NAMM show, or people that I dig. So they see the vibe by the posters you got. Oh, this is the vibe that guy has.
Right.
And then eventually you have a quality video. Usually you try to keep as quality as possible, but also people like to see the raw stuff, the making of stuff more than ever.
Yes.
Is more is it became the thing, you know what I mean? Like
I love seeing the behind the scenes, right?
yeah,
Like,
people do like it. Yes.
yeah.
So yeah, they do. But I mean, eventually you need to have something that leads for a really professional people. For example, if you do auditions for some other gigs, people want to see, let me see you play classic pop rock stuff, really well done, like a big name tour type of gig. And then you have to have something that can represent, because I did an audition for a singer, but she wasn't there. She was actually in Florida. And they filmed everything, and I sent another link to get the gig. So, okay, I know how you look like, I know how you present with the band. Yeah, you had a vibe, because then the MD at the audition can tell her at the instant moment how good I was as a player. But the other stuff, she couldn't be there. She's like, oh yeah, that works. The guy has what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So you need to have a material when people ask. You know.
So let's talk to the kids that are coming out to LA and they think, they're just going to like hit the scene. They're going to be all that. They're going to be the ones to just be the next big Billie Eilish, or they're going to be, whatever. What's up with that? What do you tell those kids when they come out?
Well, is what I think is this. If you're doing the music for that reason, I personally think you're doing for the wrong reasons. Mm-hmm. That's the first and foremost. I do music because I really enjoy. It makes me feel good. I was a very shy person when I was young, and I was very assertive but shy. And the drumming, it just helped to develop the confidence and everything. Music helps you so much. So when I felt that power, and I really enjoy, so that joy leads me to whatever I do is the natural way of doing it. So that doesn't mean you don't have to be a great player, or that doesn't mean you don't have to have aspirations to be a superstar or rock star if you want to do. Mm-hmm. But there's certain things that requires, first of all, you got to know who you are. If you don't know who you are, you're not going to get anything accomplished, no matter what kind of professional life you chose to be.
Exactly.
So if you like that glamour thing, but it's natural on you, this kind of, you're outspoken, Broadway vibe, you're like, oh man, I like the stage, huge stage, I like touring. Okay, you got the vibe. LA is the city to be in because has that to offer. Mm-hmm. However, there's a game to be played. So you're going to have to pay your dues. There's no shortcut for that.
Right. Oh, please talk about the dues, because I believe there are so many people that don't understand dues. They just think, oh yeah, I can play and I'm going to be the next thing. So talk about how they have to pay their dues.
Anybody plays in this city, if you're really good, you just make a living. So just to survive and pay the bills, you got to be really good. That's bottom line. There's nothing, you can't do nothing different, but if you can't socialize, if you don't have a respect for others to find out, okay, now I can talk, now I can shut down. Okay, now my role here is this. Oh, but I'm much better than everybody else, even if you think you are, or maybe you really are. But the role is the role. Play the role how it's supposed to be played. Because if people see it, okay, man, this guy's really good. And I know he can offer more, but he was there and he didn't, I can recommend it for the big artists that have a lot of things, because the artists have no time to dealing with this. They have the labels, they have a touring, they have a bunch of things, especially big names. They have a bunch of things to take care. They can't worry about if you're like insecure or if you don't like the gear. Oh man, this is a horrible place. I don't hear myself. Nobody cares. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things to think. So if you come in with the right attitude, it works. So you gotta find your niche first. If you like pop and rock, go where the scene is. If you're a jazz guy, go where the scene is. The scene that belongs to you or you belong to. Let's put it that way, right?
Yes.
So, but there's a confusion a lot of ways, because all the TV shows, The Voice, American Idol, that kind of thing, with all the respect, which I like it too. The younger people think that's the format. You go there, I'm a killer singer, I go there. If I win, perfect. If I don't win, I still open doors, and then I go on tour and I'm an artist. No. Mm-mm. You're not an artist because of that. You just have a talent. You got something. To be a real artist, you got to put a time into it. Go to the clubs, go to festival, go to the bars, fail many times, sing, making mistakes, see what it sells, what your real truth is, and keep touring, doing, and then you build the strong foundation. Then you can say, okay, I got something to say, and I'm really strong, you know, because you're going from the TV show and then you finish and then you got a record deal or something, then you can put it on the road with a band. They think that's what it is, but that's not how it is. I play so many clubs all my life, man, for no people, for 0 people, to 50,000 people. So that's what builds you, you know, that becomes something. So you just can fly in LA and like, I have the great look and I have this talent. Okay, what you got, there's appealing for people. What you want to say, there's people are going to be interesting to hear what you're going to say or not, because you could be the killer folk player, but if everybody wants to hear polka, you're in the wrong place. You could be the best, you know, you're a poetry, but they want to hear classical. You're in the wrong situation. And then you're going to keep thinking, oh, this doesn't work. The city is horrible. Oh, this is so hard. No, you know, there's so many variables that you have to have together.
Yeah, you've got to get to find your crowd, and then your crowd will find you.
Exactly.
That is so true. It's like, and I would say that most of the people I've talked to so far have understood that and come to that realization, but it took them a while to come to that realization that, you know, I can't play heavy metal in a classical theater. I mean, sure, the people there may like the music and they understand I'm good, but you're not going to build your audience there. So
no, you're not. You're not going to have a career.
If someone comes in here, nobody gets to just start out by playing with, you know, Lady Gaga. You don't just get to go on tour with Lady Gaga. You don't get to go on tour with these people. So let's say someone's idea is they'd like to be a touring musician. For whatever reason, they want to be a touring musician. How do they go from having no name to, I would like to be able to tour with this person for a year?
Well, that's the first thing you just said. You set up a goal. You know, you have a goal. So that's my goal. You try not to deviate from the goal, because there's too many distractions. Too many other gigs that are easy. Also, too many things that you can do that you're like, yeah, man, that's great. I'm going to embrace this. I'm going to embrace that. Yeah, you have to embrace everything, because that's how you grow. I get it. But I mean, your goal is your goal. I had a goal to do R&B funk stuff in early days. So I turned it down. A lot of other things that was labeling me in something different. Because once you're labeled, it's hard to get out. It takes a few years. What did you do to play?
What do you do, though, to pay bills? Because those people have to eat while they're trying to get to that goal, right?
Yes, this is the thing. So then you have to find what you're good at and where's the opportunities are. Since I'm from Brazil, I have the luxury to be able to play Brazilian music, and people like the culture. So it was easier to get corporate gigs or private parties to playing their authentic Brazilian music, so that I could survive doing gigs like this. And corporate gigs and private parties pays well enough so you can make a living. And I like that music anyway. So it's my heritage that I enjoy it. And so I was like, oh, this is great, but I want to do more the touring thing, the pop gigs, R&B funk, because I just dig the culture.
Yes.
And, you know, I just want to embrace and learn more. So in the meantime, I was doing this, but I also told people and friends, I love this, man. If you find something, please let me know. And then I'm always in contact with people that do what I like to do. And once they realize, oh, you're good on this, oh yeah. And then you start joining the club from people. Since I was sponsored by a gospel church, that was the goal. There was me and 2 other friends. All of us are from Brazil. We all love the funk, R&B stuff. And I was like, man, since I don't know how long I'm going to stay, that was the beginning, right after I graduated in school. Since I don't know how long I'm going to stay in the country, because, you know, you're immigrant, so you don't know how easy that is, if it's actually possible, or if you're delusional. Right. You gotta have that in mind. And then I told my buddy, so find somebody on that culture so we can learn from. I'm gonna be the only foreigner there. I want everybody to be from the thing that I'm looking for. So the only guy that's gonna have accent on the playing is gonna be me. It's like, oh, but I like that too. Okay, so it's gonna be you and me, and then the bass player. Oh man, okay, I know it's not the ideal, but we join forces. 3 of us, we're gonna join the gospel church and join them because we believe in God anyway. So like, it's gonna be a great vibe. So now I respect the culture anywhere I go. So that, long story short, led us to a sponsorship, and they really love us. And we became the best friends I found in the US right now for so many years. And then I learned a lot about the culture here. And I started embracing. I started going to their house, going to barbecues, going to the Thanksgiving, the soul food kind of thing. And then we go there, we play the funk stuff in the living room, in between eating, everybody singing old school. So that forced me to really not only learn, to really live that, so then I could really embrace that case. So by that being said, fast forward, when I auditioned for Lauryn Hill a while ago, she's like, how do you know this? It's like, I know it's different from you, but I mean, you're close, you sound great. And how do you know this? And I was singing the shout chorus, like, well, I have friends from 10 years that I'm going to the church there. So that helped me. So my point is, at the beginning of the conversation, there was a goal.
So you started.
And I set up the goal and I followed the goal until I was able to get something that was related to that goal. Not necessarily I got the gigs I wanted, but I got a lot of ones better that I had no idea that I could get.
So the key, though, was actually finding people in the niche that you wanted to be in.
Exactly.
And you've got to find, because you already had the chops, at least it's some, and then you started honing that into what you want it to be.
Exactly. And then you really got to be honest with yourself. Like, okay, I cannot play like the people from here. I don't have this gospel chops the way people grew up. But I have the feel. And I have some to make the music happen. You know what I mean? Yes. I can make a music, which the bottom line is that you got to make a music. I have a lot of people that I see YouTube nowadays, that kind of stuff, killer on the little room. Put it on the stage, they are nobody. They can't do nothing with other band, or dealing with people on the stage. Like, at the end of the day, I want to play with people. I don't want to play myself.
You know, it's interesting also.
It's a generation thing, you know?
Yep, it is. And I also found that there is a complete difference playing in a small stage versus a space where you're spread out, because
exactly
you don't hear everyone else. You've got to believe that the cues are going to hit on the right times.
Exactly.
You've got to watch the audience and the singers and everything.
Exactly.
So
you gotta play for that. I had a teacher used to say that, and I agree with him. If you play in a stadium or a place 20,000 people, you playing for the last guy on the row.
Yeah.
Your kick drum has to hit his ears. That's the attitude you gotta have.
Yeah.
And those are the things that people don't talk about it, because yes, I mean, generation. I love to see people evolving on a playing situation and getting really much better, but you gotta know how to do it. I'm really good at reading people. I read the situation really. Okay, the singer needs this. He means that, but actually he just don't know how to exactly express. But I know what he means, and then I give So I was like, great. So I was like, okay, I figured out what makes my role important.
Right.
So you can keep the gig. You can keep playing with people. You know. Because the end of the day is how to get to a gig is not that difficult if you put time into it. If you got some talent, you put time into it, you go from here to there. You can only go up. Yeah. But how can you keep yourself there when everybody else is emerging with you? Yeah. Regardless, I don't believe in competition. In a degree, there's more people. You know, if you like a style that is current now and I'm old school, that I don't know the style, doesn't matter how killer I am. You need somebody that knows something that you're looking for that I might not be able to provide.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to keep watching those situations.
So the things that we've talked about so far is really, one, you have to get onto the scene. You have to, first of all, just be here.
Be where things are happening. You know, I mean,
be where things are happening.
You know, if I was the best drummer from my country, I'm never going to play with George Clint or like a Tina Marie. They were living here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why are they going to fly me from there? It doesn't matter. You know, you got to be where the scene is, you know.
Correct. You have to be where the scene is. So set your goal.
Your goal.
And know what that is. Focus
that's
on that goal.
That's going to clarify you are not to do, not deviate from the main goal. And
you're also, while you're trying to get to that goal, you need to still take other jobs so that you can still play and eat.
Yeah. Right? Because it always help you to play anyway, gets you better. Gets you fine tuning your skills for any reason. Either, you know, some of the gigs I do, I was doing also, I still do. I fine tuning my people skills. Like, you know what? I know I can play this gig really well, and the people like what I do, but I don't know if I can deal with that kind of caliber of high society or this kind of people that are different from the way I used to. How am I going to behave? Am I be able to be me? Am I going to get offended, or political situations or any other things that might be happening at the place and it's high end? And I go, okay, this is great. So I find how I am. And that has helped me a lot.
Right.
You got to be honest with yourself. If you don't know how to play the gig, you be in the niche. Okay, I don't know how to do that gig, so I'm gonna meet those guys, but I'm gonna shred in my room until I'm ready to meet them again, so I can. Hey man, I'm available. I want to play double bass now. If you that's kind of rock gig, please let me know. You're ready. So that's what I did with the church stuff. I know what I can do and I know what I cannot do. I was like,
You're
okay,
still
I'm not
playing
gonna
with
go
the church
far.
stuff now, right? You're still doing
Yeah, I
the
still
church
do.
stuff
I still do. Now I do with other people, like it's more contemporary funk, rock, pop kind of thing. But I mean, those are my friends for so long, man. I learned from them so much, and I really enjoy. I dig the artists from the past, like
Absolutely.
Yolanda Adams, like Fred Hammond, Commission, all those the Winans. I learned everything here. I learned everything here. And I put time into it. I sacrificed. There was one point I was going to South Central or downtown LA looking for a church. So like, okay, what is the service? So Sunday that time. And I called them. And then I realized, like, you know what? They're not going to say no everywhere.
Correct.
They might say no because they like, okay, I don't know who you are. You're not from here. They might be politely rejecting you. But a lot of places they're going to say yes because it's a church. It's not a corporation. It's not. That's not the goal. So what's worse can happen? I don't play, but I show up, and I found a lot of people that were very warm and let me play. And every time I play, I record it, and I went back home and I listened back, like, okay. Then I watch people, how do they do it? Why do they do that way? I was like, oh, okay. So you find it tuning yourself. People don't actually do that. They want to.
Back up
They
just
want
one
to do
second, because
what they
that's
do.
actually a really, really good point and a good tip. I mean, people do record their live performances, but I think a lot of people don't do like what you just said. Go back and listen to it and go, why did that work, or why did that not work?
Exactly. And like and you go for like, okay, man, be honest with you. It's like, okay, I know I can do this incredibly good. Half of the city don't. Yeah, but that thing doesn't pay any bills. Like, okay, what am I gonna do with that? It's just a goal. Some people want to be a super artistic mindset. It doesn't matter how they're gonna struggle. Some people are gonna do that way, and I appreciate, and it's okay. But you have to know what it takes and what the consequence from your attitude. You know what I mean? I'm always going to be an immigrant, no matter what it is, no matter how accepted I am, no matter how my English gets better, how my understanding. I'm not from here. I know that. You know what I mean? I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's a fact. So once you understand that's what it is, you stop whining about other stuff, because like, man, that's not the thing. You got to understand that. But work on the other side. People like what I do. People embrace Brazilian culture. People like a lot of things I do. I just magnify the things that they like about me instead of thinking about the other stuff that could be better than I don't have.
Say that again, because earlier in the conversation, one of the things that struck me was that you said you actually had an advantage being immigrant, being a foreigner, because you understood the Brazilian music and people like that here, and they were looking for that. And so that was a real advantage. It's not a disadvantage in that case, and it got you into the music scene, right?
Yeah, it got me. The first gig I got was $25 on a restaurant from my friend that used to be my roommate. He was playing guitar with a singer that also plays guitar as a duo, but the singer got a quartet that day, but they didn't have money for a quartet. So they got money maybe for a trio. But I said, man, I just go for play with you guys. I eat, so I just start meeting you people and they're killer players. Like, I just want to play with good people, and I go with you. So it's okay for now. It's like, okay. And then they got $25 each, I think, and I got $50. They split their thing. That was my very first gig. But it was very successful on scene, like two other teachers show up. Like, oh man, this is a killer music, because they knew how to play the music properly, And I realized, wow, this is great. That same guy got a private party for $250 each of us one day.
Wow, good.
And then the next week, he got the same thing. And then the next week, the same thing. And then all of a sudden, the money that I already had saved a little bit when I moved was still on savings because I was already making some of the party things. And I realized, wow, man, this is at least I can keep my mind sane because I'm not struggling to survive. That gives me time to think how I'm going to do the future. So basically, I was buying time to find out what exactly I really want to do. And I was pleased by playing the music that I enjoy from my own country. And it was even more just see how people really respect it. That gave me a different perspective. You know, it's a lucky thing I'm from there.
It was lucky, right? Because you fell into a niche that actually worked and it kept you growing.
Yeah, and then from that point on, I started practicing a lot of the stuff, even from Brazil, that I'm not was as good at. I was like, man, if I really want to represent, it's gonna be time that I'm gonna face something really serious. So I'm not good on this percussion. Let me share this now. So and I found it, and then when I found the love for the R&B funk stuff, I had to do both. I was like, okay, and then I have to face the fact that I wasn't gonna be incredible in any of that, because the more you do, the more time you need, and it's very difficult to play everything on a high level. Very few people can in the world,
right?
But I like it though. I was like, okay, but that's my situation. But also I realized people won't hear, the level that we wanted to achieve. You know what I mean? You still want to achieve the highest, but you don't go above 6 or 7, the very, very most.
Right. So, it's interesting because general people don't necessarily know when they hear a fantastic musician or an okay musician sometimes.
Yeah, they can't. Or poetry, they don't know. They can't understand why Bob Dylan is so famous, because the guy is, all the respect, is not a great singer.
No.
But the poetry and the way he put the words, by the time he emerged with that vibe that made him what he is.
I totally get that.
That goes for any style, man. That goes for anything. For the killer jazz guys, the killer funk guys, R&B is it goes from anything that you. But I was already a pro when I moved here. Maybe not the same level, but I had, what I mean by pro is the attitude, like you living by doing it. So my friend has a great saying, like, from those people that plays everything, they want to play all the notes in the world. He says, when the mailman shows up with the bills, the notes start falling out. It's a great expression, because bill shows up, you got a groove to keep the playing, so you can make the money. Forget about the flash stuff, which is true.
Funny. That is
I
so
understand.
True.
It's so funny because we all like to express ourselves or play flash just for the sake of playing. But it's that way. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I will say that I think your knowledge that you shared right here in this past, whatever we've been talking, half an hour, 30 minutes, whatever we've been talking, has been illuminating for me, and I hope it's illuminating for the people that are going to listen to this, because a lot of times people don't get to interact with people who have done the range of gigs that you've done. They'll talk to people who've done local, but they don't talk to people who've done national, international, big, 20,000 person.
It's a different vibe. Man. You have to deal with a lot of things. Like if going overseas, you have to fly. You have to deal with the jet lag, and then you have to perform at the same level. And they tell you, you know what I mean? Man, this is what it is. Put your A game. Let's do it. And I was like, oh God. So how many hours we have slept? And then I was playing a rock, blues, funk stuff, really high energy. I was like, okay, there's no time to fool around, and that thing is nothing related to how much you play on your instrument per se, on your own room and shredding. Like that's nothing, man. You gotta really have the attitude to do it. You know what I mean? And you have to really put it together. And you're like, okay, if I do this, I'm gonna work more. Embrace that. If you don't like it, don't do it. You know what I mean?
It's so good. It's like the thing that I'm learning myself from this, and I see it in photography, because I do a lot of professional photography, and people tell me, it's like, Michael, we want to hire you because we like you. We like the energy you bring. We like the things that you do. And I find that it's the same with the music. And you are enforcing that mentality that it's not just your skill. The skill is like the bottom floor.
Yes.
The skill is like just assumed that you have the skill. And then what really separates you, at least from I'm finding from talking to all the musicians, is the attitude and the ability to get along with other people and be flexible. Those sorts of things.
Yeah, those are the things very important. Which means if you have the right attitude, you're gonna think about yourself in a different way.
Yes.
Then you're not gonna let yourself go into a trap. For example, in the beginning, I was the small little tours I've done it. I was like hanging on a good hang with people, being so kind. Oh, thank you for coming and taking pictures. And all of a sudden, the guitar player and singer came over to me. Man, it's really awesome. We have to be respectful for that. But you gotta go. You gotta sleep. You gotta go. Take your time. Take a break, because they're gonna warn you out. It was like, I felt like, but they just flew. I wanna just to give attention. But I learned it, man. He was right. You're not gonna be able to keep up 10 days in a row if you give attention to everybody. And then I have some friends in Germany, some friends in other places in Europe. Oh man, if you have a day off, let's go. I'm gonna take you to that lake. And I was like, you can't do it, because the end of the day, that's what I do for a living. If it requires a high energy for certain things, I gotta eat and sleep well. You can't keep like a sex, drugs, rock and roll type of thing that people think it works. It just doesn't work like that. In a real situation, it's not that way. And you learn. The only way you learn is by doing it.
Yes.
You can't. There's no manual for that. And you're like, okay, the next gig, you're like, I'm tired. Okay, I learn. Luckily, I learned. I do one mistake really quick, and then no more. And then I realize.
You know what? I want to come back and talk to you some more, because one of the things that I don't want to put it in this interview, I'd like to do it a different time with you if you have some time in the future, is I want to talk about the business side of music, because a lot of artists, I don't want to say all, only think about music from I'm playing, I'm really good, but they don't think about the business side of the music. And I'd really love to talk with you about building a team, who does what, how you get support. There's just briefly, one of the things that I found is that it's very hard to be the money bad guy and the artist at the same time. And most people starting out have to do both of those, or they got to bring somebody in and pay them, or find a friend to do it. And it's almost impossible.
Yeah, and especially because nowadays you have to do everything. You have to be the artist, you have to be the producer, you have to be the relations, you have to sell your stuff, you have to monetize, you have to put it up on a Spotify and that kind of stuff. And because you became one person, now it's much better than it used to be, because we've been exposed to so much more music, right, than it is in the past, because of everything else with the good and bad side of streaming or whatever it is, internet. So you see people from all over the world super fast. You can have everything really quick, so that you couldn't do it years ago. However, now you're on your own. There is no more labels like that. There's no more. So if you don't do it, if you don't promote, if you don't make it people interesting on what you do, nothing will happen. And you gotta have the best thing that I have to tell you is this: you gotta have a thick skin. Yes. Thick skin. You're gonna be rejected 100 times, no matter how great you are. Sometimes you reject just because you're too good.
Really? No, that's
people,
one I hadn't heard, because you're too good.
Yeah, people don't want to have you because you shine.
Okay.
You shine more, especially this up and coming singers that just, I'm not going to say everyone, but there's a lot of artists that are like just good enough, or have a pretty looking, blah, blah, blah. They have decent stuff. They're good, but the whole band is stellar. And then they shine too much more than the main guy. And then labels are paying for that. They can't have you shining more than the main singer or the main act. They're like, you know what I'm saying? So it happens. So there's something like knowing your place is a key factor to be a working musician, especially if you're touring. So you're gonna have to deal with management. You're gonna have to deal with the venue, people's managements. So there's things that happen, and you deal with different levels. medium, small, or big tours, they all have the same thing, which means somebody's going to tell you what's the time of the show. Somebody's going to tell where the hotel is. Somebody's going to tell you this and that. And so the scenario, the logistics are the same. They are different proportional. I mean, the level are different, but you got to eat, you got to sleep, you got to do a sound check. It doesn't matter if it's a 100 people on a club or if it's a stadium. That is going to have to happen no matter what it is. Mm-hmm. But so depends what kind of artist you're playing with or you're working with. You have a better responsibility, bigger responsibility to follow to. So you got to be on time, on lobby call kind of thing. You can't be a pain in the butt on the sound check all the time, complain about the sound, never really works everywhere you go. It will happen. But I mean, you can't be that guy, you know what I'm saying? It's something that you only learn doing it, and it's not that much fun. Obviously, you like to play. That's why house concerts are good, because you don't have to do none of that. People are there for you, and if you have a great show, you're going to have a good time. Because my show is good, I know. People are here to see me.
Right.
That's perfect. So, you know what I mean? But I mean, that's like you answered your question a long time ago, as like the touring thing. If you want to be a touring musician, what does requires to be a touring musician? Yep. Be a great team player, have your gear together, fast learner, and enjoying the tour. I enjoy traveling, playing. Yeah. I don't like to plan for travel. Like if I'm going to go visit you, you're my friend now. Oh, it's going to be fun to visit. I just get a hotel, which is an easy plan. But I don't like to plan everything. Vacation planning for me is not fun. Because for me, I just want to do what I do. So the touring is great. So you meet people, you make money, and you travel to places and countries that you've never been, meeting new people. They're enjoying what you do. It's so fulfilling on that scenario that I enjoy. So which means for me, it's not a problem traveling. We went to Jakarta with an artist I play, Steve Fister Band. It's a killer rock blues gig. And it's like 19 hours. But nobody thought about that. I never really thought until I figured out how far it was going to be. But I was thinking about, wow, man, we're playing the Java Jazz Rocking Festival. This is great. I'm in Indonesia. It's like, how is that culture? What kind of food they have? Yeah. It's like, oh, I want to see that the beaches are good. So what kind of, people are nice. They speak English or not. That was my mind. It never crossed my mind how far it was until I was in the plane. I was like, how long is going to be the flight? I didn't even know. You see what I mean?
But see, that's where it comes in, having a good team to take care of those things that you don't need to or have to.
Yeah, they are the same. They are like me. You're not going to hire you if you don't have that energy.
Exactly.
But when I tell the people from my college back in Brazil, because also I graduated in marketing in college because I was afraid to be a full-time player, even though I did jingles, I did a lot of stuff as an artist and music related to marketing. I was afraid. So my friends from there, when I tell these stories, they show the stage first and the pictures. They love, oh, my buddy's making in LA. They feel great. And then I tell the rehearsals, how long was the flight, and I tell the Muslim, they have a terrorism there or whatever the case. They're like, oh man, I'll never go. They already shut down. They already immediately don't want to do it. It's like, okay, that's why you do what you do, and I do what I do.
Exactly, and that is so key.
It's the key. That's it. And people move to LA. If you don't have that vibe, man, the city is gonna swallow.
Yeah.
It changes now. Now everything's programmed. I work a lot because I do percussion drums and kind of things. Sometimes I program stuff, but a lot of stuff are drum programming. A lot of stuff that I used to play drums, I don't play anymore. Mm-hmm. That's the scene. A lot of producers, they're called producers. They're making beats. They're making sound. They're great talent people, but not really understanding too much how to deal with the musicians together, like if he needs a chart, a chord chart, or just be able to translate the information to somebody that can actually play an instrument for real and make that music on that. It's a little different language now.
It is a different language. And, there's another whole thing we'll have to talk about. It's the difference between, I hate to say this, musicians and people who make beats. I think they are two skills that are absolutely necessary.
Yes,
and because I think a lot of times people who make beats get they get dissed, like it's you're just pushing the button, and I'm like, no, they're not just pushing the button. You have to learn what that means and how to make it work into being music and how it mixes with other beats. And I'd love to talk sometime about that also. So let's continue this, and let's wrap this one up right here. And
okay,
can I talk with you again?
Yes, we definitely can.
I would love
to. Keep in touch.
let's tell people goodbye. And Sandro, how can people are you available for people to ask you questions or to take
Yes.
classes from you or email?
Yes. You can send, if there's any chance, you can put my email on the video, because
I will.
I don't think they will get it if I just speak. It's my middle name, Nogueira Drums, hotmail.com.
I'll put that on the
And
video.
if you put on the video, that'll help. My Instagram, which is Feliciano Drums, you can find me on Instagram and send me message from there. And I'm gonna put it up my new website that I'm under construction now, because this new year I want to review it. So I didn't have time to do it yet. Since people reach me through the phone, email, and Instagram, I was like, okay, I don't need to hurry to make sure that the web page is good. So, but the web page is my name, sandrofeliciano.com. So they can all reach me. I answer questions anytime, whatever. If I can help, I'm more than happy to do it. So
that's awesome. Well, thank you very much for spending this amount of time. It's been very good education, and I can't wait to talk to you again.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for having. Thank Aaron for recommending to you.
Excellent. We'll keep it going. Matter of fact,
All
I
right.
would love to have both of you on together. That'd be so fun.
That'll be good too.